Suppose you charge all your customers for chlorine and cyanuric acid, but you just bought a brand new route and those customers are only used to paying for cyanuric acid. How can you set up your inventory inside of Hydroscribe and charge some customers for a chemical but not others? Well, the first thing you're going to do is separate your customers into groups. Let's put the current customers into group 1, and then we'll put the new customers into group 2. Now notice group 1 will then be charged for chlorine and acid, and group 2 will only be charged for acid. So let's look at how to set that up in Hydroscribe. Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our pools. If you're setting up property management pools, you'll use the property management pools option. If you're not, then use the manage pool options. They both work the exact same way. So let's go ahead and choose manage pools. So let's look at our customer pools. First, we're going to look at the current customers. So let's scroll down to the bottom and we're going to click show optional info. And the very first field is going to be the group. So you'll notice that it defaults to group 1. So all pools, when they're added, will default to group 1 unless you specify a different group. So for the current customers, all their pools are going to be in group 1, so we're good there. Now remember, we're going to put the new customers into group 2. So let's go back and now let's look at the new customer pool. I'm going to scroll down again to the bottom, show optional info, say yes, and we're going to change the group 1 that's here to group 2. Notice you can set up to 5 different groups, but we're just giving a simple example here. So we're going to change it to group 2 and we're going to click the submit to make sure it changes. Okay, so now we've set up our new customers into group 2 and our current customers are in group 1. Now let's go back to the menu, and this time we're going to set up the inventory, our chemical inventory. So we go into inventory and we're going to look at the chemicals. Now let's review real quickly. Remember, we said we're going to charge group 1 for both chlorine and acid, but we're only going to charge group 2 for acid. So we're going to again charge both groups for acid, but only group 1 for chlorine. So let's go ahead and set that up. So we select chlorine and we're only going to charge group 1 for chlorine. So we're going to scroll down until we see the chemical groups, the charge groups, and then we're going to check the box for group 1 because that's the only group we're charging for chlorine. So now that we've done that, we're going to click the submit button so that it takes, and we go back to the list. This time we're going to go to cyanuric acid. Now remember, we said we're going to charge both group 1 and group 2 for cyanuric acid. So we scroll down to our groups and we're going to check group 1 and group 2 because we're going to charge them both for cyanuric acid, and then we click the submit button. So now we've both set up the pools in the groups and we've set up the chemicals so that the right groups are charged for the right chemicals. The last thing we have to do is we have to consider this. If there are customers that you don't ever want to charge for any chemicals, then you go into their account, and it doesn't matter, just pick the customer. You're going to edit their account, and what you're going to do is you're going to scroll down to the bottom, and where it says show optional info, yes, you're going to scroll down until you see charge for chems. If you don't want to ever charge this customer for any chemicals, you're going to set that field to no. Okay, you only do this for customers who you don't want to charge for any chemicals whatsoever. You set their charge for chems to no, and then click the submit button. That's how you set up customers to be charged for certain chemicals and not others.